Today I'll be showing you 3 critical withdrawal decisions that can make or break your retirement security. Over my many years of helping clients manage their retirement distributions, I've watched these 3 same mistakes happen over and over again, and it really impacts how long your retirement savings will last, far beyond just the tax consequences that you could face. That's exactly why I'm making this video for you today, to show you how to avoid the withdrawal decisions that could permanently damage your retirement security. So let's get right into it. Doing anything for the first time is often very difficult and confusing. And if you're anything like me, you probably make mistakes the first time you try anything. Just last month, my wife was asking me to replace light fixtures in the house, and there was 3 of them that I had to replace. The first one took me over an hour, but the next 2 took me less than 15 minutes to do. Retirement planning is just the same way. And this is a real problem that people have when they go to retire. They've never retired before. You're not just replacing light fixtures, you're planning for the rest of your life income. And if you do it wrong, you could possibly run out of money, devastating your financial future. Mistakes will happen, and they often do with retirees if they don't seek professional advice from a qualified, certified financial planner. In fact, a Morningstar Center for Retirement Security and Policy Studies research article just found via a new simulation tool, and it found that 45% of Americans retiring at age 65 face risk of running out of money in retirement as people live longer and they share a greater responsibility for the retirement savings. In fact, here's the link below that you can check out for yourself. I just want to highlight a few things for you right now from the article. The first thing that they cited was improper tax and distribution planning led to people running out of money. The number one reason was people were catching out large IRA accounts or brokerage accounts to pay off any debt that they had, such as house, maybe student loans for kids, grandkids, or themselves. And that was causing a big tax burden in a given year. The second thing that they cited was people actually don't take enough risk during their working years. Think their 40s and 50s. They're not taking on enough risk in their portfolios or their 401k plans, so their assets aren't growing enough in their 40s and 50s. And the third thing that it cited was people are still taking out too much more money during stock market downturns. In fact, I think that 2022 shows us a great example of this, where in 2022, the average retiree portfolio, which is a 60% stock, 40% bond portfolio, was down about 15 to 16%. But even though that portfolio was down for a lot of retirees, people still took money out, which leads to them possibly running out of money sooner than later. I personally think that the biggest issue that people make in retirement planning is improper distribution planning. Let me elaborate a little bit here with the 3 withdrawal strategies that I see retirees get wrong all the time. The first one is they choose a dangerously high withdrawal rate. Think an 8% withdrawal rate instead of a 4% withdrawal rate, for example. And I'll elaborate more on this later, but a recent talking head last year was just talking about taking out 8% from your retirement portfolio. That is extremely dangerous. This can leave you broke, causing you to go back to work even if you don't want to. The second thing that I see people do is they ignore the sequence of return risk early in their retirement years. You see, through the Red Zone retirement planning process that I outlined in this book, if you use the link below, drop me an email. I would love to send you a free copy. People don't protect some of their assets. And so what they do is they have all of their money in the market, and maybe we have a 2022 year when the market's down and they're still taking out. You have to be safe with some of your money, and I give you the details inside of that book. The third thing is that I see people fail to adjust their withdrawals during market downturns. So not only do they take out too much, they do it regardless of where the market's at, but they take it out even more so during market downturns. Some of these downturns can last more than months, possibly years. Doing this can lead to a disastrous financial future. But let's think about it here. What drives retirees to get these decisions wrong? Well, oftentimes it's bad advice from a talking head that they see online, or they're not getting personal advice or a plan from a certified financial planner. Or maybe it's they're taking advice from a neighbor or somebody who's not qualified to give them a personalized retirement plan. You see, there was a talking head last year that was just stating that if the market returns, the stock market on average returns 12%, let's say. This isn't me saying it, this was a talking head saying this last year. The stock market averages 12%, minus inflation of 4%, you can take out 8% per year and you'll be totally fine with your retirement. That is far from true. It does not work this way. That is way too high of a distribution rate. In fact, check out this chart below that's going to pop up on your screen right now. A $1 million portfolio is what we're showing you here, and it's a large cap blend similar to the S&P 500 that was mentioned by this talking head. This shows you from 1970 to now, there was 53 possible start years. Now, if you took out the 8%, there was 21 times that failed. Ouch! You see the X on the bottom of the charts here? That represents the year in which the account went to zero. The soonest one went broke in 8 years. You don't want your retirement plan to be running out of money in 8 years in your mid-70s. That would be disastrous. And so this chart is a great example for us to check out for that. Another thing that people do wrong is that they assume withdrawal timing doesn't matter as long as the markets have that average return of 5, 8, 10, 12%. But you see, timing plays a huge role on this. Again, look at this chart that's popping up. There was 21 failures, but there was 32 successes. And so there was 32 times during this, since 1970, that this actually worked, which is honestly pretty good. But 21 times it's failed. That is way too big of a risk to take with your lifetime income strategy. You do not want to be doing that strategy. And the last thing is they trust that the overall principle of the savings strategy and savings rate, distribution rates, such as 8%. So they think that 1 million can safely generate 80,000 in yearly income forever. When you retire, how much you take out in the years that the market is going down, all of these things play a factor in this, and it is not guaranteed. You don't want to leave your retirement at a place where you could possibly run out of money in 8 years. That would be disastrous for you. The last thing is that I think people really follow poor planning advice. They're not working with a professional. They follow the poor planning advice such as taking out 8% or putting all of their funds in one account. I've also seen people take on way too much risk in retirement and lose the assets that they have. And then they have to go back to work. I always tell people when it comes to retirement income, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So now that you understand how these wrong withdrawal decisions can impact your retirement and the underlying beliefs as to why people make them in the first place, you need to understand that this goes way beyond just getting your withdrawal rate right. It's about protecting your entire retirement from collapse. After helping hundreds of clients create sustainable retirement income for years now, I've discovered that the biggest factor in retirement success isn't just knowing about these 3 mistakes. It's getting actionable advice that's customized to your specific situation. Advice that goes just beyond what I can explain in a generalized YouTube video here today. That's exactly why I have put together a retirement questionnaire to help you build a retirement plan that won't fail. Once you fill it out, you'll get a personalized video from me sent to you with personalized advice for your exact situation, with action steps included. I want to make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity, so just click the link below and it'll take you to my quiz that you fill out, and I'll give you some personalized action steps for you. Now back to the video here. So what happens when these withdrawal decisions go wrong? What really goes on if you make these bad decisions? Well, disaster happens. You run out of money. Excessive withdrawal distribution rates take your retirement accounts down to zero too early. Remember in that earlier example that I referenced with you? The first person in that portfolio went broke in 8 years, taking out 8% from their portfolio. If they would have started at 65, in their mid-70s, they would have been broke. What also happens is that market downturns force retirees to withdraw higher percentages just to maintain their steady rate of income. So 2022, again, is what I'm going to point to. In 2022, that average retiree portfolio, 60% stock, 40% bond, was down around 15%. If you continue to take out distributions from that portfolio, that just leads to a downward spiral of running out of money sooner than later. Once these things happen and you do them, the damage that you do to your portfolio by taking out too much money, it honestly becomes impossible to recover from, and you're going to have to slow your distribution rates or stop them completely to make your money last. But I have good news here for you. You can stop these bad decisions and make the proper decisions with just a few different things here that I can teach you. Through my Red Zone retirement planning process, again, that I outline in this book, detail for you to follow. It's a process that I take clients through, and it makes all the difference between success and failure with your retirement plan. A few quick highlights that we do is we create cash buffers for our clients of anywhere from 6 to 18 months worth of expenses, so that if there is a market downturn or life happens and you have an unexpected cost, you can cover it. The second thing that we do is we create a dynamic withdrawal strategy that adapts to real-time market conditions. And the last thing that we do that's very important is we create income-generating assets for our clients. So now that we've seen how these 3 withdrawal decisions can devastate a retirement plan, let's look at a real-world example that we had just a couple years ago of someone who we caught these errors on early before disaster struck. So Steve is somebody that we started working with in 2020, right before COVID hit. And what Steve had is he had some problems once we started taking him through our process. He was following traditional retirement advice. He retired at 60 and he was 62 when he came in. And the advice that he got, it ignored market conditions. He was taking a fixed withdrawal rate regardless of what was going on in the market. In addition to that, he had no strategy for protecting against early retirement market drops that he could potentially face. He had one portfolio, 60% stock, 40% bond. He had no cash, no lifetime income, and no protection from market declines. So what did his situation look like? Well, he was taking out 6% from his portfolio because my guy told me I could take out 6%, so that's what I'm doing every single month. But once we ran the analysis for him, we showed that based upon market conditions historically, he could possibly run out of money using that strategy. He had no protection from inflation risk down the road, returns risk, or market risk. And so what do? We put him through our red zone retirement planning strategy. And here's what we did for him. We created a cash buffer for him by selling off some assets that he wasn't using anymore. An old RV and a couple of old vehicles, we created a cash buffer account for him. And then what we did is we created a flexible withdrawal system that adjusts for market conditions. And we also built him a retirement buffer account that protected from market downturns. And we developed a dynamic framework across the retirement red zone, giving him increases in pay as he aged to help with inflation risk. So we gave him a cash buffer, downside protection, lifetime income, and a legacy account that we also created for long-term growth. Through the red zone retirement planning process, we secured his retirement, luckily before 2022 hit, and he could have potentially run out of money too soon. So now that you've seen how these 3 critical withdrawal decisions can affect your portfolio and how most retirees mishandle them, what concerns me most in my retirement planning process is how these seemingly simple choices can permanently impact your retirement security. Through guiding retirees through their distribution strategies, I've noticed that even financially savvy people often get these decisions wrong because they're focused on the wrong factors. The consequences of these withdrawal mistakes can dramatically affect both your lifestyle and how long your money lasts. That's exactly why I've put together a retirement questionnaire to help you build a retirement plan that will help you avoid all the wrong decisions that I just talked about today in this video. After you finish it, you'll get a personalized video from me with advice for you and your exact situation. So just click the link below, fill it out. I'll get you the video within a week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one here. This podcast is for educational purposes only and may include references to concepts that have legal and or tax implications. It's not to be construed as legal or tax advice. Such information or opinions is subject to change without notice and is not intended to use as an offer or solicitation with respect to the purchase or sale of any security, insurance products, or offer of individual investment advice. Any strategies discussed may not be suitable for everyone. Mutual of Omaha Investor Services, Inc. does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your appropriate professional regarding your personal situation prior to making any financial decisions. Securities and advisory services offered through Mutual of Omaha Investor Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Riser Insurance is not affiliated with Mutual of Omaha Investor Services. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Diversification does not guarantee a profit or protection lost against loss in a declining market. Purchase of life insurance is subject to meeting underwriting requirements. There is no guarantee if an individual will be insured.
Annuities are long-term investments designed for retirement purposes. Withdrawals of taxable amounts are subject to income tax, and if taken prior to 59 and a half, a 10% federal penalty tax may apply. Guarantees are backed by the claims paying ability of the issuer and are subject to their terms and conditions.